Good afternoon and welcome to the Romanian Military Thinking Conference 2022. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Bogdan Oproiu, Deputy Editor-in-Chief of the weekly newspaper of the Ministry of Defense, the Military Observer, Observatorul Militar, and your host for today. For the smooth running of the conference, I would like to highlight a few organizational issues. First of all, the conference has, as you probably know, an academic component focused on the presentation and publication of scientific articles, and a debate-based component focused on a practical perspective. Both components of the conference are organized into 4 sections: information and security, military theory and art, defense resource management, and military history. Today we will have the opening session and 3 debates. In the opening of the conference, we will have a series of special guests, starting with the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, the host of this event, a delegate representative from the Prime Minister of Romania, the Chargé d'Affaires of the US Embassy, and the NATO Deputy Secretary General. The topics for panels scheduled today are as follows: the consequences of Russia's invasions of Ukraine for the wider Black Sea, the future of NATO, deterrence and defense in the new strategic environment, armed conflict near NATO's eastern flank, lessons identified, and today also a roundtable and an academic panel are scheduled in different halls in parallel with the debates that will take place here. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit nervous. I have never seen so many high-ranking officers in one place for a very, very long time, probably never. Thank you. The panels organized for today are global competition and the implication for security affairs, a roundtable, and the academic panel that deals with defense resources management. For the opening session, there will be addressed no questions for the speakers. For the debates, on the other hand, we encourage the audience to ask questions during the question and answers sections. This being said, please allow me to move on to the opening section. I have the honor to introduce the first speaker, the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Gheorghiță Vlad. Prior to his position, he was the commander of the Jetica National Joint Training Center at Cincu and commander of the 2nd Infantry Division Jetica Buzău. He graduated from the Inter-Arms Faculty of the Academy of Higher Military Studies in 2002. His military education has been enhanced by means of numerous courses, among which Communication Systems and Informatics in EDA, Netherlands, National Defense College in Bucharest, Peacekeeping Operations in Oberammergau, Germany, a master's degree in International Relations and Security Studies for the Lucian Blaga University in Sibiu, as well as the master's degree in Strategic Studies from the US Army War College in Carlisle, USA. In 2007, he participated as a staff officer in the multinational force Iraq. Sir, the floor is all yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, partners, distinguished guests. First of all, I would like to thank for your participation and for the way in which each of you has chosen to contribute to both the planned panel discussions and the scientific sections proposed in the conference program. I am convinced that the exchanges of ideas advanced in such an institutional framework add value to the process of development and promotion of the security culture necessary for the Romanian society, especially in the increasingly complicated context of current risk and challenges to security. From the title of the conference, Dynamics of Security Architecture in the Wider Black Sea Area in the context of the conflict in Ukraine and the new NATO strategic concept, and consider that the intention is to create an intellectual bridge between the institution with the responsibilities in the field of national defense and security, as well as between the mentioned institution and international organization, non-governmental organization, academia, experts across various domains in relation to the security environment in the Black Sea region, where the dynamics have been extremely fluid lately. Increasingly complex risks and challenges require complex solutions. As part of ensuring national preparedness, it is important to assess the extent to which our understanding of resilience is realistic or in need of adjustment. The war in Ukraine is changing the European security order in ways unseen since the end of the Cold War. In response, security actors must adapt and demonstrate strategic purpose. NATO and its allies have so far shown this ability, yet the longer-term implications of the current crisis are still to be unpacked. More specifically, NATO must accommodate short-term requirements inherent in responding to Russia's aggressiveness, but also a long-term vision of what the alliance will stand for in the future. This implies strategic thinking about China's role in the coming decade, the impact of climate change, of NATO's activities, the role of crisis management in an unstable NATO periphery, and in dealing with both today Russia and post-Putin Russia. All this has come to the fore in the post-24 February era, and this we already addressed in the 2022 Madrid Strategy Concept. Considering all of these aspects, it is necessary to emphasize that the current conflict in Ukraine challenges the security environment in the classical sense, but it has increased the number of questions we will have to address. NATO's eastern flank states continue to face the most complex security issues that can be encountered across an entire generation. Considering the geographical location of Ukraine, the wider Black Sea area has gained even much more importance than it used to have prior to the invasion. Maritime security being also mentioned as key to the peace and prosperity in the new NATO strategic concept adopted in Madrid in June 2022. In the mentioned context, the recent chronological history of the defense staff is marked by sustained efforts to increase combat capability based on principles of NATO defense planning process actualized in the force structure, development, and the decision-making process enhancement in the compliance with the program of transformation, development, and procurement of the Romanian armed forces until 2026. The perpetuation of phenomena subsumed under hybrid threats in the Black Sea region remains a constant concern for Romania. The security and stability of the region continues to be a strategic priority both for our country and for the North Atlantic Alliance. Moreover, the low degree of predictability related to the evolution of regional crises, as well as the non-compliance with the rule of law by some states and non-state actors have added to the already complicated regional security situation, resulting in increasingly complex security risks and challenges. As a NATO and European Union member state, our country continues throughout the joint efforts of the Ministry of National Defense and other institutions with responsibility in the field to intensify the defense and security measures in line with other allies and partners, respecting international commitments to increase credibility and regional profile, thus strengthening its status as a security provider. In conclusion, the security culture development requires an interagency approach. It is necessary to explain the new types of threats, risks, and vulnerability that may have an impact at the individual, group, societal, national, regional, or global level. There are dangers the civil society must be aware of in order to be able to contribute together with responsible institutions to identify, preventing, and combating them. An important role in educating citizens is played by the institution responsible for knowing, preventing, and counteracting The construction of modern society is based on ensuring individual and collective security, which is the point of converse for national and international institutions, professional associations, and non-governmental organizations. Current society feels the need for articulated security education policies, and in their absence, various one-off collective initiatives seeks to compensate for this shortcoming. The Romanian Military Thinking Conference can be a useful approach in this regard, as we consider it meets a concrete social need. The security of nation is a value that only when one is about to lose it does one come to truly cherish it. We are all obliged not to remain passive, to develop our own security culture, to cultivate our critical thinking, and last but not least, to promote this type of culture. Therefore, I wish you all success during the presentation that you are going to give. May the debates lead the useful conclusion that can be put into practice. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for your introductory speech, also giving an overview of the conference. We're looking forward to hearing these ideas developed during the debates. For the next few minutes, we invite you to watch a short film summarizing the main political and military events in the Black Sea area of late.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Russia has attacked Ukraine. Russia has attacked Ukraine. This is a brutal act of war. This is a
The 24th of February 2022 will be remembered as a turning point in European history. On that day, the European security landscape has been shaken in a way that the world has never seen since the Cold War.
We face a new reality. So we must reset our collective defense and deterrence for the longer term.
In order to answer Russia's aggression against Ukraine, NATO significantly increased its capacity, including by enhancing its presence at eastern borders through the deployment of additional allied forces and technology on land, air, and sea.
In addition to the 100,000 U.S. forces now stationed in Europe, NATO established, as you already know, four new battle groups from Bulgaria and Slovakia, Hungary, to reinforce the Eastern Front.
The Battle Group 4 presence in Romania was established in the month of May by transforming the multinational elements from the NATO response force in our country. Following France's proposal of taking over the framework nation role, this battle group is formed by the French battalion deployed in Romania, considered to be the spearhead of the Very High Readiness Joint Task Force, which integrates rotational forces from Belgium and Netherlands.
Show it. To deter, you have to prove it and to show it. So that's exactly any enemy of European and NATO allies that we are prepared to fight together shoulder to shoulder.
The training facilities over here are excellent. The training facilities over here are excellent, but it's also because the Romanians over here are very helpful and very flexible in arranging for us any efforts for us to achieve the training objectives that we have.
In Chinku, we were able to expand the existing base and to rapidly install our approximately 1,000 troops deployed there, alongside our partners in Belgium there, alongside our partners in Belgium and Netherlands.
Today, I feel strong emotions. Pride, anger, and hope. Anger. Because a sovereign nation was brutally invaded before.
According to the decision taken by Romania at the NATO summit in Warsaw. Among the measures that NATO took to strengthen the eastern borders, besides the Allied battle groups, there was also the deployment in Romania of a Portuguese detachment consisting of 220 soldiers. The Portuguese forces have been integrated in national and multinational military structures and took part in many joint training activities to highlight the Allied solidarity. Also, as a result of the United States' commitment to the Black Sea region and NATO security, after 78 years since Operation Overlord in Normandy, the 101st Airborne Division of the US Army returned to Europe at the 57th Air Base Mihail Kogalnicianu.
The founding members of the 101st Airborne Division fought, sacrificed, and died to secure the peace that Europe has enjoyed since 1945. A peace that NATO has helped secure since that time, and one that is now threatened by the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Ne-am implicat în ceea ce înseamnă conceptul dezvoltării acestor grupuri de luptă, unde să fie dislocate, care este modul de creștere a lor până la nivel brigadă. Coordonăm împreună cu aliații americani, dar și cu partenerii francezi care dezvoltă cel de-al doilea grup de luptă la Sibiu, coordonăm modul de realizare a națiunii gazdă, încheierea acordurilor tehnice privind susținerea pe timpul prezenței lor aici, parteneriatul pe care trebuie să realizeze cu unitățile Armatei României, programul de instruire în viitor și integrarea în planurile comune de acțiune.
As a result, the Russian invasion in Ukraine did not weaken our alliance. On the contrary, NATO's response to the armed aggression near its borders led to a more consistent approach in the east.
În clipa de față nu există diferențe calitative de natură strategică sau militară între nordul flancului estic sau sudul flancului estic.
During this period, NATO kept on alert more than 100 fighter jets in the region that keep our skies safe 24/7. Fighter jets from Italy, Germany, Canada, and United States of America have been deployed in Romania at the 86th Air Base in Fetești and the 57th Air Base in Mihail Kogalnicianu. They conduct enhanced air policing missions under NATO command and also train in exercises alongside Romanian Air Force planes to contribute to the improvement of the defense and deterrence capacity. Exercises were not only conducted in air, the Allied forces also train in Romania on land and at sea. Soldiers from American, Polish, Portuguese, Romanian and French armies, in a total of 700, took part for 2 weeks at the exercise called Justice Eagle in September at the Land Forces Secondary Combat Training Center in Smordan.
Exercise has been it's a great learning experience. We had the opportunity to come together and work with Romanian tanks, Romanian BTRs and their dismount soldiers, as well as other elements from the U.S. Army who we don't always work with. And so we've learned a lot during this time. Really, the experience to work with the tanks and with the Romanian soldiers was very helpful. It was a great time. We learned a lot about their different weapon systems, their different capabilities, and it showed us how we can all work together to make a stronger alliance.
Sailors from Bulgarian and Romanian naval forces took part in July at the exercise Breeze in the international waters of the Black Sea. Other partners and allied sailors joined from Belgium, France, Georgia, Greece, Italy, Latvia, Poland, Turkey, and the United States of America. Together, they practiced operational procedures for conventional and unconventional warfare and for fighting against asymmetrical threats. Romanian Special Forces conducted 2 multinational exercises this year alongside other operators from allied and partner countries. Junction Strike is the most important multinational and interinstitutional exercise conducted under the leadership of the Romanian Special Operations Command. 700 Romanian operators with 100 technical means for land, air and sea, together with 100 allied operators from the United Kingdom, United States of America, Turkey and Hungary, trained after a scenario that was adapted to possible operational threats, even though fictitious. Trojan Footprint, an exercise planned and coordinated by US Special Operations Command Europe, took place simultaneously on the territories of many European states such as Bulgaria, Croatia, Estonia, Georgia, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Montenegro, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and Slovenia. These and many other exercises led to promoting regional security, especially in the Black Sea region. The adaptation to the new geopolitical normality was outlined during the Madrid summit. Maintaining NATO's open-door policy was decided.
NATO leaders took the historic decision to invite Finland and Sweden to become members of NATO.
Also, Ukraine has the right to decide its own security policy and to aspire towards membership in alliances considered suitable for its own future. Until then, future officers of the Ukrainian military will probably always remember that at times of need, a NATO member state offered them a shelter: Romania.
This short documentary presenting this year's political and military situation in the Black Sea area. And now I would like to introduce and say that we are honored to have His Excellency Mircea Joană, NATO Deputy Secretary General, as an distinguished keynote speaker of the conference. Previously, Mr. Joană had a distinguished domestic and international career, holding very important positions such as Ministry of Foreign Affairs, President of the Romanian Senate, High Representative of the Romanian Government for Strategic Economic Projects and Public Diplomacy, President in Office of OSCE. Mr. Joană is a graduate of the Polytechnic University in Bucharest, the Faculty of Law of the University of Bucharest, the École Nationale d'Administration in Paris, and he holds a PhD from the Economic Studies Academy of Bucharest. Mr. Joană is a strong advocate of transatlantic integration, being the recipient of important orders, decorations, and medals, such as Commander of the National Order, the Star of Romania, the French Légion d'honneur, and the Italian Stella della Solidarietà. He has published extensively on domestic and international affairs. Dear sir, thank you very much for joining us to this event, be it in a virtual mode. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so very much, and I thank General Petrescu and the Ministry of Defense of Romania for inviting me for this very important conference today. The implications of the conflict in Ukraine and NATO's new strategy concept have a direct impact on the security of the vital Black Sea region. I hope the next time around I'll be able to be with you in person. Romania is a highly valued NATO ally. Romania makes important contributions to our shared security, including at this pivotal time. Romania hosts one of NATO's new battle groups in the Black Sea region, another one in Bulgaria. You lead by example on defense spending, and Romania hosts a key site for NATO's ballistic missile defense. Last month, Secretary General Stoltenberg and I had the pleasure to welcome Prime Minister Nicolae Ciucă to NATO HQ. And in 2 weeks' time, Romania will host a meeting of NATO foreign ministers in Bucharest. We look forward to being again back in my country. So we thank Romania for its strong political, military, and diplomatic leadership to strengthen NATO. And we thank you for your continued support for our partner Ukraine and for the security and stability of the Black Sea region as a whole. Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine rages on. But we see the Ukrainian forces making progress, pushing back the invading Russian forces in the east and in the south of Ukraine. Russia's partial withdrawal from Kherson demonstrates the incredible courage of the Ukrainian armed forces, and it shows how vital it is to continue our support to Ukraine. President Putin is responding to his failures on the battlefield with more indiscriminate attacks on Ukrainian cities, against civilians and civilian infrastructures, and with dangerous nuclear rhetoric. So we must stay the course. For Ukraine's sake, but also for ours. NATO will not be intimidated or deterred. We will support Ukraine's right to self-defense for as long as it takes. At the same time, we continue to strengthen our own defenses to keep allied territory and our 1 billion people safe. The Black Sea region has been the focus, the bastion, and the launching pad of Russia's aggressive buildup and actions for more than 2 decades now. Russia's irresponsible and hostile behavior in the broader Black Sea region has deeply affected the security of the alliance. It has also hampered economic development and exacerbated instability in the region. From frozen conflicts to the full use of military force, from repeatedly restricting freedom of navigation in the Black Sea to cyber attacks, Russia has used all tools in its conventional and hybrid toolbox. It has turned parts of the Black Sea into a war zone. So what happens in the Black Sea does not stay in the Black Sea. We see the global repercussions, including the heavy disruption of food supplies. By blocking Ukrainian ports for months, Russian forces have prevented grain from being exported from Ukraine, causing the worst global food security crisis in years. I want to thank Romania for making the conditions for exports of Ukrainian products to the global markets through its ports and its territory. Access to the Black Sea is not only a critical enabler of Russia's brutal war against Ukraine today. With missiles fired from Russian ships, submarines, and warplanes in and over the Black Sea hit targets deep inside Ukraine. It also enables Russia to project power from the Black Sea towards the southern Caucasus, Iran, Iraq, and Syria, the Eastern Mediterranean, North Africa and the Sahel, Western Balkans, and the Republic of Moldova. This is why we reaffirm the strategic importance of the Black Sea region in NATO's new strategic concept that our leaders endorsed in Madrid in the summit last June. NATO has been strengthening our collective deterrence and defense since 2014 in response to Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea, with more troops backed by significant air and sea capabilities. In the defense investment pledge to spend 2% of GDP on our defense. At the Madrid summit in June, we decided to do even more. We doubled our battle groups in the eastern part of the alliance, from 4 to 8, and will continue to reinforce them up to brigade level as needed. We are also increasing the number of high readiness forces across the alliance to well over 300,000 troops. We are further reinforcing NATO's presence from the Baltic to the Black Sea, including here in Romania. Fighter jets from Canada help to keep your skies safe. And thousands of French, Belgian, and US troops are in Romania to deter aggression. Our increased presence sends a clear message. NATO is ready to defend Romania and all NATO allies, and to protect every inch of Allied soil. At the same time, we are also preparing for a world of increased strategic competition and instability. So at the Madrid summit, we also agreed NATO's new strategic concept. The concept describes the security environment facing the alliance, reaffirms our values, and sets out NATO's core tasks and key purpose of ensuring our collective defense. Our new strategic concept makes clear that Russia poses the most significant and direct threat to our security, and then China's coercive policies challenge our security, values, and interests. It describes climate change as a defining challenge of our time, and it reaffirms our commitment to counter terrorism as well as cyber and hybrid threats. We are facing the most dangerous and unpredictable security environment in a generation, and probably one of the most transformative times in human history. So we have a busy agenda ahead. The road to the NATO summit in Vilnius. An important stop will be in a few days in Bucharest for the foreign ministerial. I know that NATO and I myself can count on Romania to continue working for a stable and secure Black Sea region and beyond. Just as Romania can count on NATO to remain strong, to remain ready, to remain responsive, to support our partners, protect our people, and defend our democratic values. Thank you so much for having me, and I wish you a great conference. General Petrescu, our respect, and thank you so much for the leadership you're providing to our great armed forces. Thank you.
Thank you very much as well, sir, for your message addressed as NATO's Deputy Secretary General. Your ideas and your words connect perfectly with the topics of our conference regarding NATO's deterrent position in the Black Sea region and the new strategic concept. So thank you again. Our next keynote speaker for today is Mr. Iulian Chifu, representing the Prime Minister of Romania, Nicolae Ionel Ciucă. Mr. Chifu is a State Advisor for Foreign Policy, Security and Strategic Affairs of the Prime Minister of Romania and the President of the Center for Conflict Prevention and Early Warning in Romania. He has an extensive academic background. He is the author of many books, among which Post-Conflict Reconstruction and Strategic Thinking, and is also an analyst with a constant presence in the media on issues related to politics and foreign affairs. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. Please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you very much. Generals, officers, diplomats, military attaché, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, in the name of the Prime Minister of Romania, Mr. Nicolae Ciucă, to wish the best of success to the works of the present conference. I would like to raise 5 points, to make 5 points in my short presentation today. The first one is about the fact that Romania proves in any of the steps that it makes the interests, the concerns, and the contributions to what is now issues happening in the wider Black Sea region, in the eastern flank, and that are threatening our security, that of NATO and EU. In that area, we have to see that today we do have, on one hand, a conference related to military intelligence security matters here with the military thinking. On another hand, the resilience conference, which happens in the houses of the parliament. It is about the concerns and also on our very thorough look into the existing threats and the perspectives in the wider Black Sea region, in the eastern flank, and on the tremendous changes and turbulences that happened since last year. Yes, and that's my second point, we do have a war in Europe. In the mid of the 21st century, we do have a war that nobody thought would happen. And at the same time, we have to learn each day how it happens, how it is developed, how and what instruments are on the ground. And it's not only about military, it's not only about intelligence or other means, but we just see tremendous instruments coming from the hybrid component of the war, mixing with the conventional one, and together with the threats to use nuclear capabilities, all of this in a mixture that needs revision for defense and deterrence that we are looking very attentively at. My third point is about the lessons learned. Yes, we have seen the developments and the capabilities of the Russian army in Ukraine. With mistakes, with bad bets, with bad assessments, and maybe very bad choices. But at the same time, we see the development of an army and use of force for changing the borders of a neighbor country in the heart of Europe. And at the same time, we see the level of solidarity of the countries, members in NATO, in EU, for supporting Ukraine in all the basis tracks that Ukrainians need to take in attention in order to resist for a long time to this war, which began change into a war of attrition. And we look forward to see it developing for a number of years to come. At the same time, we realize, and that's my fourth point, where our capabilities are, how much we invested the last years in the personal, in the military capabilities, and especially how our economies can react. The defense industry moving to a war industry, to having high production for weapons and for ammunitions. And we realize where we are staying and what is lacking in these projects. Looking forward to see strategies to move our economy from the situation of peace, which is the normal one, to a situation which was imposed, that of a war, with capacities to support Ukraine on one hand and to prepare for any eventual possible development on our borders. My fifth point goes with the consequences of the war, what we are expecting. First, we are all expecting, and we need, that Ukraine wins the war. It's a fact, it is assumed at a NATO Sec General level, at the EU level, like-minded countries, we are supporting Ukraine, and it shouldn't be a step back, because that means compromising on our principles and values, and actually undermining the rules-based order. The second point is that we need that once, because we didn't do that after the Cold War, to see the costs of this adventure coming and being imposed to Russia. We have seen last night the resolution of the UN General Assembly related to the costs of the war and sanctioning Russia for war crimes, for destruction, for all of the behavior unsuitable for the international law that they've developed in Ukraine. The third point, our citizens assume the fact that we need to pay directly for assistance in Ukraine, for refugees, for the developments in Ukraine, for each and every issue of the IDPs, refugees in our case, humanitarian, but also political, and costs that are coming from the rise cost of the energy, the inflation in our countries. And we've done it. We succeed in having the support of the people to do that in order for their children and grandchildren to have the same life with liberty, with democracy, with human rights observed, with their free choices, and not under a type of autocracy that Putin is imposing to its people. But on another point, we need to look very attentively on the secondary sanctions, because we can't accept that somebody is taking profit of the costs, the grievances, and the support of our people for the war in Ukraine, and makes money or support Russia to avoid the sanctions. This is another very important point, and I'm quite sure that in the foreseeable future, we will see those developments in that area, and it's a matter of justice. It's a matter of justice for each and every one of us, including at the international level, that everyone who introduces the war in Europe, as it is the case, is paying for the costs that they have got for us, for all our citizens, and for our countries. Thank you very much. Wish you once again success in the working of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kifu, for your intervention today. We'll look pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. David Muniz, Chargé d'Affaires ad interim at the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, who has served more than 20 years in the State Department. Prior to the current assignment, Mr. Muniz was Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary for Regional and Multilateral Affairs in the Bureau of Counterterrorism, where he also served as Director of the Office of Regional Affairs for South and Central Asia and the Near East. Mr. Muniz is a graduate of the University of Georgia School of Law, and he also holds an undergraduate degree in History and Political Science from the James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. He is the recipient of numerous State Department awards, including several Superior Honor Awards and Meritus Honor Awards. Dear sir, the floor is all yours.
Very much, thank you. As I have increasingly reminded my staff, I think the official photo that we show at these events is outdated, and so I'll try to find a new one for the next event, because I think it's misleading and inaccurate. But good morning again, everyone. Especially special greetings to the Deputy Secretary General of NATO, Mr. Girowana, General Vlad, Mr. Kifu, Mr. Dukaru, generals and admirals, and everyone who's gathered here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the pleasure, affording me the pleasure of joining you here this morning. For more than 70 years, NATO has served to protect the freedom and security of its members and has worked towards an inclusive and lasting peace based on the rules-based international order. NATO's enlargement, including Romania's 2004 accession to the alliance, has strengthened it and provided the Euro-Atlantic nations peace and security while upholding fundamental democratic values. Today, however, we live under constant reminder that this region is no longer at peace and constant reminder of the need for NATO in the first place. What we wake up to every morning here on Europe's doorstep and our alliance's eastern border was practically inconceivable to many of us just 1 year ago. Everything changed on February 24th. The worst and most undisciplined elements of the Russian war machine have again been loosed on this continent in places that were burned into our collective memory to be forever synonymous with the massacres of innocent people are again in the news for the same reason. Places like Odessa, Crimea, Mariupol, Kyiv, and elsewhere. Much of Ukraine looks today just as it did under Wehrmacht occupation in 1943. Russia has succeeded in adding these new names to the dark lists in our collective minds. Where we remember Babi Yar and Katyn, Russian barbarity in Bucha or Borodyanka are also now known. And as the Russian forces are pushed east, we see constant and new evidence of their preying upon non-combatants in yet more places. Moscow's war has seriously destabilized the Black Sea region and has now metastasized to threaten Europe and the world. In clear echoes of the 1940s, we've been dragged back 80 years by a country that wholly dismisses the international order, breaks countless treaties, and violates the Geneva Conventions. All headed by an individual who ignores and undermines diplomatic solutions and efforts, relying only upon a woefully undisciplined and undertrained military, lawless mercenaries, and the dogs of war attracted to the conflict. Russia has shown the world that its forces are incapable of understanding the laws of war and are too morally bankrupt to avoid war crimes. But the world is watching. Watching Ukraine is watching Moscow. We all know the adage, inspired by the famous Roman jurist Empiricus, the wheels of justice grind slowly, yet they grind exceedingly small. And they are grinding now, even as we speak. And it was in this light that the heads of state and government of the NATO alliance came together in Madrid this past June to adopt the new 2022 strategic concept. This strategic concept reaffirms our commitment to international peace and stability and ensures that our alliance remains capable of collective defense based upon a 360-degree approach. The United States fully supports the alliance's three core tasks of deterrence and defense, crisis prevention and management, and cooperative security. And Putin and the world are now seeing that our NATO alliance has never been stronger. NATO will not buckle. There's no chance of that. And peace-loving countries will continue to support and aid our Ukrainian friends. These are dark times indeed, but as we hope and work to restore international order across the region, it is reassuring that we do it together. And it is here that I also will commend the Romanian government for all of its support to Ukraine. You're in a critical place, in a critical location, and you're giving critical help. And you should be very proud of what you've achieved on behalf of the alliance and behalf of the Western world. Our alliance is as strong as it is because of the committed allies we have, such as Romania, that are a vital part of it. So thank you again for your continued contributions to NATO and for your work in ensuring that we are seamless in our interoperability, and particularly for your significant increases in defense spending. Clearly, this is a very tough neighborhood that we're in right now, but you're leading the way in addressing the challenges that we find here. As Putin's war fails or ends, whether through diplomacy or defeat, it will remain clear that he only accomplished bringing our nations closer together and making the alliance stronger, which of course is the opposite of what he sought at the beginning. Romania and the Black Sea region are now more than ever integral to Europe's defense and to its economy. And thanks to you, NATO remains strong, ready, and able to guarantee its Article 5 commitments. I wish you a successful conference. I think it's going to be very interesting looking at the agenda. And thank you again for inviting me here today, and God bless you all.
Thank you also for your intervention and for the strong support in keeping and developing the excellent relationship the Romania already has with the United States. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going towards a break, but not before I introduce to you the sponsor of this event, Mr. Sebastian Tudor, the CEO of TNT Production Romanian. Dear sir, if you will proceed with the intervention, thank you.
Hello, it's nice to be here and I'm very proud to be here in this beautiful building and to have the opportunity to introduce to you the 9th edition of the Black Sea Defense and Aerospace Exhibition and Conference, BSDA 2024. BSDA is the right place where the Romanian Ministry of Defense can get in touch with companies, both Romanian and international, to find out about the available and future technologies, armament systems, training, cyber defense, and so on. BSDA takes place every 2 years in Romero, in Bucharest, and the next edition will be taking place in 2024 in May. BSDA is also offering the Ministry of Defense the opportunity to showcase their capabilities, their equipment, to promote their educational and career opportunities to the Romanian public. Is the right place where the Romanian Ministry of Defense can meet with their counterparts, with regional countries, and is the right place for everybody to make business, to find out about the needs, what the industry has to offer and what the Ministry of Defense needs to purchase and what there needs to be in place to protect our country and our region. And we are proud to be a partner of the Ministry of Defense, especially with this occasion of this conference, and also for the past 15 years, and hoping to be partners also for the next 50 years, if it's possible. So I thank you again for this opportunity. I don't want to take too much for your time and to enjoy the coffee, and wish you a pleasant event, and see you in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you also for the support in organizing this conference, and good luck with all the future editions of BSDA. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a coffee break, a short, well, not so short one, until 12:30. There are refreshments on your right-hand side, and we'll see you here in 40 minutes. Thank you very much.